if you can still see the stream, because I can still see the chat here. Like you see, like I have some messages from Shraggy. I was listening to the stream with you guys, so I was kind of looking at what was going on. So let me actually quickly change my background to the Q&A one and also add a logo right here. Let me know, guys, if you can see this, because we were supposed to be live on Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, if you guys can see us, please drop a line in chat so we can kind of like see and understand if this is coming through as a separate event, as a new event.
I see it. I see it. Looks like we're good on YouTube and Facebook. We're good. We're live.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So moving on, like nothing happened. Rob, where were you?
Where were we? Okay. Where were we? I think we were just answering some of Shraggy's questions. So yeah, and Ted as well. So yeah, so we can just continue. If you guys have, yeah, if you guys have any other questions on live, please drop them in the chat. Awesome. Yeah. Anything that you wanted me to show specifically? I think there's also some questions about Zoom. If anyone is using Zoom to connect to Restream.
Let's talk about Zoom. That's a good topic. Let's just do Zoom conversation, and sure. I'm gonna add a little caption here and highlight you.
Sounds
Zoom,
good.
Zoom, Zoom.
Sounds good. All right. So, Anya, I'm just gonna share my screen here. Okay. So feel free to share it. Awesome. Okay. So let me actually. Yeah. Okay. You can see it. Awesome. So guys and girls. So this is my Zoom account. So right here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Actually, it doesn't matter, because what we're looking for is the very bottom here. If you're using Zoom and you're like, hey, I want to use Zoom to go live to multiple channels, it's really, really simple, okay? So what you need to do is open up your Zoom meeting, and you can actually set this up ahead of time, but if you're in the Zoom meeting right now, this is the actual Zoom window, click on More, and then click on Live on Custom Live Streaming service. Okay, it's a third option. First it's Facebook, then YouTube, and then custom live streaming service. If you click on that, that takes you, oh, it opens up on my other window, but that takes you to this page in your Zoom account. Okay, and so what Zoom wants is they want you to enter your streaming URL, your streaming key, and the page URL that you're going to be streaming to. And so where you find that is you go to your Restream, you go to Restream, go to your dashboard, let's click the little R on the top left there. And right here, there is the streaming software RTMP, okay? So click on RTMP settings. This is really confusing for a lot of people. So if you haven't figured this out, this is something that you've been trying to figure out. This took me like weeks to figure out when I first started streaming. What is RTMP? So you click on RTMP settings. Now, I think, yeah, okay, it covers it up. So don't share your RTMP settings with anyone. This is like basically the keys to your channel. So if somebody has your RTMP settings, your stream key right here, that's why it's like coded like this. If somebody has that, they can go live on your channel. They can go live on your Facebook page or group, your YouTube channel. This is like giving somebody the keys to your channel. Okay, so what you want to do here is basically this is the URL, the RTMP URL right here, and so you would put that right here, right? So you would put that there, for example, and then the streaming key, you would copy your streaming key. You can click on this little copy button right here, click on that, and that copies your streaming key, and then you can put that into this field right here, streaming key. Now, the thing that confuses people is what is the live streaming page URL? Now, this doesn't come from any of these two. This is like basically your YouTube. You can put where you're going to be streaming to. So this can be your YouTube channel. So for example, youtube.com/TubeBuddy, for example, or your Facebook page. It's not something that comes from Restream. It's basically where you're going to be streaming to. And so once you do that, you click on go live, and then you're going to be live streaming on Zoom. Like it'll be coming from here. Okay. So whatever shows up on your Zoom meeting, that's what's going to show up on the screen for somebody else. So hopefully that helps. If you guys have any questions about it, feel free to ask in the chat.
Awesome. Good
Awesome.
stuff. I see a couple of questions from Anastasia. I like this one. I think that's going to be a good one to kind of like break down a little bit for people. Is there a difference between Zoom and Restream guests? So if your goal is to bring in some guests to your stream, have one or two people talking just like we're doing right now, what are the differences between doing that through Zoom versus doing that through Restream Studio with guest feature?
Okay, so hopefully nobody here is from Zoom, but this is my opinion. Okay, guys. So if you want to really have a nice looking live stream, also a lot easier to manage, you should just honestly just go directly through Restream Guests or Restream Live Studio. It just gives you so much more options. Okay, so again, Zoom is a great tool for meetings, for collaborating with team members and clients and stuff like that. It's a conferencing tool, right? It's not a live streaming tool, so it's very limited in the way that you show up and the way that you can put backgrounds and logos and overlays and even the comments that you're seeing right now from Anastasia. You can't really do that on Zoom. So I would just suggest, Anastasia, if you're you're able to, I would just go directly to Restream Live Studio and then use the Restream Guest feature. It's going to be even easier for your guests as well, because then they don't need to log into Zoom and make sure that everything is working there. They just get a link from you from Restream Guests, and then they just show up into your studio, and away you go. You can have a nice looking stream. And it's a lot easier to manage. A lot of the times when you see a stream on Zoom, some people are like, I don't even know what's showing up on the screen, like which screen, what Chrome tab, what's happening right now. Whereas on Restream Guest or Restream Live Studio, it's just a lot more user friendly. So that's my suggestion. But yeah, hopefully that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question here from Alfredo. This is only for Zoom webinar feature, right? Is this on a regular professional Zoom account? So the short answer to this question is this is for anything. You can use this way to stream your Zoom meeting, just your regular meeting, as well as your Zoom webinar. It just depends on what kind of account you have. The only important thing to keep in mind is that you will need to have some kind of a paid account in order to have the streaming feature enabled. And there's slightly different process between setting up Zoom webinar versus Zoom meeting, but this feature is available for both. And there are some articles, I believe, in our help center that explain like one little step that's slightly different between webinars versus Zoom meetings. I think we can definitely throw that in the chat and share it so you can actually see like the specific steps with pictures and images. But it doesn't have to be a webinar. You can do that with just your regular Zoom call.
Yep.
Oh. All right. Another good one. Is there a limit to the number of destinations you can set up in Restream? For example, I can set up a bunch of different platforms, but only utilize 10 that I can use for each stream. And Ted mentions that he's on a paid plan with up to 10 platforms. I believe that you can add more platforms than 10. And support team, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can add as many destinations as you want. The only thing is when you toggle them as online, that is going to basically limit you at the moment when you reach up to 10 custom destinations. Remember, those 10 are custom destinations. So those are only the limit for your paid destinations, such as Facebook pages, Facebook groups, such as your LinkedIn groups and pages, or any kind of like customer TMP destinations, the ones that are not yet integrated directly with Restream. So if you, or also double destinations for like second YouTube, second Twitch and stuff like that, you can connect 30 destinations from different platforms and then additional 10 from those doubling or those paid destinations. So technically you can have like 40 or 50 destinations going under this plan and this account. But I believe you can also add additional Facebooks as well. It's just whenever you toggle them live, when you reach that limit, that's when you'll get a prompt, a pop-up message saying, hey, you got to upgrade if you want 12 custom destinations in the online mode. So I hope this helps. I hope that makes sense. Okay. All right. So there's some more questions. Do you have a paid Zoom account? I guess, yeah. So that's the question for Rob, and the answer from Rob is right here. Yes, I do have a paid Zoom account. So yeah, that's going to be a requirement for Zoom meetings. For streaming from Zoom, you do need to have a paid account from there. Even though, Rob, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there is some kind of workaround when you can use OBS plus Zoom in order to stream with OBS. Is that right?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm not too familiar with OBS. I've played around with Streamlabs OBS, but yes, I believe that there might be a workaround there if you're using OBS and Zoom, and so Anastasia, yeah, I'm on specifically on a pro plan with Zoom. If you're curious.
Awesome. All right. Jonathan here says, good wives. Like, this is the kind of story we need today, right?
That's right.
Good wives. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate the, just keep adding your good wives to the chat. This is very encouraging. Melody here says, I stream with OBS, Zoom, and Restream. So this is what I was talking about. This is one of the options how you can accomplish that is basically you use OBS capture to capture the screen, and that's just capturing your Zoom meeting as it is, and then you put it via OBS through Restream to all those destinations and platforms that you have connected on your channels. Why people like to do that, like what it does help people, is it gives them flexibility to use OBS's fancy overlays, multiple sound ingest, multiple cameras, all that cool fancy stuff. And on that side of things, Rob, I'm on the same page with you. I'm not a proficient user of OBS. That's why I love Studio, because it makes things simple, and it makes, it gives me just like the key nods and buttons that I need in order to drive my live streams. While I understand that for a lot of people, OBS is the solution of choice because it gives you a lot more tools and a lot of things to play with. So yeah, you can totally do that. Capture Zoom meeting with OBS, throw it through Restream on all the platforms at the same time, and still use overlays and other cool toys that you have there. All right, so let's see if there are any other questions that we missed from up above. And I see a lot of hellos. Hello again. I know, right? There is a question from Shrek. Have you guys answered Shreggy's where are you guys based out of? Have you guys covered that one?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, well, let's start with Europe. Where are you based?
All right. I'm in Canada. So I'm on the West Coast, Vancouver, Canada. That's where I'm at, Ted.
Awesome. And I am here in Austin, Texas, and it's really hot in here, in case you wonder.
I bet.
In case you want to know, it's like 100 degrees in Fahrenheit, and it's about 40-something Celsius. So unlike the rest of the world, we're not looking forward to summer. We're looking forward to summer to end, because that's when we can have our life back and we can be outside and, not constantly burn in crazy sun. So yeah, that's where we are. But for Restream in general, we have a very international team, and we have part of our team is based in Europe. It's actually in Ukraine, Kiev. And we have people on the West Coast. We have a couple of team members in San Francisco and Seattle. We have people in Canada as well, actually Toronto area. Oh, maybe not Toronto. Actually, now it's Niagara Falls, close to Niagara Falls. We have our community manager who is based there. So yeah, we're kind of spread out. And this is, this is what
that's awesome. Yeah.
What we can say to the where are you based question. All right. There is an original question here from Ted, and I know it doesn't show you the whole thing because it's a long question, so I'm going to try to read it out. My original question, we are using Switcher Studio for our live streams. I'm noticing that sometimes Restream chat doesn't show the active number of viewers in the stream chat. Why is that? Is there a setting or something that we could do differently? Rob, do you have any experience with Switcher Studio? Because I am not an expert.
This is a question. Yeah, no, actually, Ted asked this question while we were trying to figure out a little earlier, and I wasn't really sure. I've tried Switcher Studios maybe 2 years ago, Ted, so sorry, I can't be much help with that. But what I did say, Anya, is to check with your team. But because I think sometimes when you're using a third-party tool, it doesn't populate or propagate, pull in the number of viewers data all the time. But that's just my thoughts. I'm not sure.
Got you, got you. Yeah, that's going to be something for us to come back to you, Ted, with. I know that these comments are going to be saved on Facebook, so I'll make sure that somebody from Restream support team reaches out and comments in more detail. I believe as long as you're using most of your channels via API and not just customer team P, you should be getting chats going through. The only time when you don't get that is if you're using customer team P, because in that case, it's just a one-way street, right? Like we don't get anything back from the platform. You basically just send video there and nothing comes in return. Yeah. But if it's integrated through API and you're choosing, like you're connecting those channels automatically, you should be getting those messages. I know a lot of people are really enjoying the Switcher Studio plus Restream because it allows you this mobile streaming flexibility plus multi-platform. So I actually do want to check it out at some point because it seems like a really cool combination and really cool tool. So yeah, we'll get back on this one for you, Ted. Let us know if there's anything else we would like to know. Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for putting up with our epic
epic day.
Epic day, exactly. I mean, it's kind of funny because a lot of times like one of the things that I do with Restream is I have a show when I interview different content creators and we talk about live streaming every Friday called Friday Lives. And one of the questions that I love to ask people is like, what was your most epic fail during live stream? Because I think it's great for people to share those moments when you're like, oh yeah, internet went down, power went down, the guest didn't show up, everything went wrong, kids started going crazy in the house, all kinds of things. So that's the power of live video, guys. People get more tolerable and they are kind of like more like forgiving, if you want to say, to kind of, little oopsies and hiccups and stuff like that. So I
agree.
So there is a question from Dieter, and we are about to wrap this up, by the way, just going to make sure that, the last minute questions are all answered before we go. I stream to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitter. Periscope and Twitter being, I guess, the same thing. Yeah. I use the chat app in Windows to respond to messages and also have the chat overlay embedded in OBS. I'm also using OBS, Zoom, and Restream when I stream. Lately, the chat bot hasn't been working. Is that the chat app I have installed in Windows Messages once sent, or I tried testing in the browser, and apparently the Dieter is asking if there's any fix for that. So it kind of really depends on what version. Like whenever you're looking at some kind of like a desktop application that you downloaded, it really depends on what kind of version you have. You got to make sure that you have the latest version. I personally use only browser version because I know that that's the most up to date. It pushes updates automatically, but it should be working. When you mention bot, it kind of depends also what kind of bot. There's a relay bot that kind of allows you to copy messages to all your platforms and like sends the same things everywhere. There's also like a notification bot and the bot that like messages, bots that you can program yourself. So it kind of depends on that specific application of that. But we can definitely look into this. The best thing to find out what specifically is happening to you and your setup is to reach out to our 24/7 customer support. They usually respond within 5 minutes. That's their average response time. And they're 24/7, so it's pretty badass, right? Whenever in the world you are, you'll get a response. And so just reach out to them, give them your email address, user ID. They'll be able to investigate specifically what's going on with you. And if maybe it's just a question of, hey, update the newer version, or maybe there's some kind of a issue that nobody reported, and you will be that superhero who did that, and then we'll get it fixed for you. So that would be my recommendation, because there's a lot of variables in this specific setup, right? Like what could be causing that. So my recommendation would be to check in with the customer support team.
Awesome.
All right.
Anya, there's a couple of questions here really quickly. I know we have to probably wrap up, but I think on YouTube here, Mathay, hello guys, can I do multicam and invite multiple people? Do you have a studio feature? Yes, there's a Restream studio feature, Restream Live Studio. So definitely there is. You can invite multiple people for sure. And then multicam, yes. You can choose multiple cameras. So if you have different angles and different cameras happening at the same time, no problem there. And then really quickly, Anya, I know I want to answer this one from Charles on Facebook Live. Can we blast invite notifications prior to a live stream session email, Facebook, LinkedIn, so no one misses the event. So, Charles, this is something we think about a lot at TubeBuddy because we do lots of live streams as well. Like YouTube, for example, it doesn't notify everyone. Like it doesn't notify all of your users. So you can't really rely on their notification system. You can schedule your events ahead of time on Facebook and on YouTube. You can't schedule it ahead of time for LinkedIn. You can do a LinkedIn event if you like on LinkedIn. So that's probably the best way to do that. And then you can stream into the event. But the best thing to do is if you have some type of email, that's like the most, I suppose, like it's very old school, but that's the most, reliable way to notify your audience. And then sort of like secondary would be scheduling your events ahead of time and then, posting it maybe 4 or 7 days ahead and then promoting that scheduled event on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube so that people can click the get reminder button. And then that way they have a better chance of getting a reminder directly from Facebook and YouTube. But there's no like outside of email, there's really no like the platforms aren't really 100%, notifying everyone in your audience.
Yeah, people have to click that bell to get reminded. And
Yes.
just from our experience, how we do this with our content, Charles, is we do it actually using all of the above, so to say. So we do schedule events now when the events feature is available. So that already automatically creates a post on your Facebook, on your also LinkedIn is coming soon that is going to allow you to schedule and create a post. So that becomes a promotional item already. In addition to that, we send a weekly newsletter with all our content. So every Monday we send out like, hey guys, this is what you can watch this week. It's Q&A with Rob. It's Friday Lives with Anya. It's, amazing stream with Mixcloud where we interview the DJ, like all of that, those things. So people can actually choose, and immediately there we add a link where people can click, and then that's going to take them to that reminder thing. And if they're really interested, they can hit that bell. And then after that, in addition, we are sending everybody between 1 hour and 30 minutes before the stream. I think 30 minutes is a little bit more effective because then people can plan better. We send another blast of exactly old school emails saying, hey guys, by the way, if you don't want to miss the stream, this is happening in 30 minutes. Check us out here. Here's the link. So this is how we approach it at Restream. And so far it's been working out well. But yeah, if you guys have any other tips on how to better promote the stream, that would be very interesting for us. One other thing, just last little thing to mention on that note, is that another big part of this is repurposing your content. So once your stream is over, the best way to promote, hey, make sure you check in and check out like our next Q&A on Wednesday or next Friday Lives is to create little clips and snippets from previous events like that. Throw them on social media and say, hey, this is what happened previously on Q&As. This is what happened previously on Friday Lives. Want to check in the next one? Tune in on at this time, at this day. Here's the link how you can access that event. So this has been something that we've been also working on, and it's been pretty good for us so far.
That's awesome. Actually, on that note, Anya, I noticed that you guys did something with Wave Video. So we're actually going to be doing a session also between us and Wave Video on how to repurpose your live streams. And that's going to be happening. We're going to be using Restream, of course, for that session. But yeah, tune in for that as well. Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Wave is amazing. We did enjoy that stream so much. Daniel was such a wonderful co-host with me. We had a blast. And yeah, so I guess there is a quick question from Gary here. Sure. He's asking about any tips how to get approved on LinkedIn. The best way to get approved on LinkedIn is to apply and to comply with their criteria. I don't know, Rob, are you approved to stream on LinkedIn Live? Yeah. So I believe there are mainly like 3 things that they're looking at. One is your network. So you need to have more than 1,000 followers, I believe, in order to stream. Another thing is they want to see your previous live streaming experience. Yeah. So in your application, you provide the links to your YouTube, your Facebook, your Twitter, wherever you used to go live, to give them some examples of your work in terms of content creation. And then another thing is consistency. They want to make sure that you're a consistent user of LinkedIn and you're not just like logging in once a year. If you check all those boxes, most of the time they are able to approve you. Of course, here at Restream, we do not have any effect on LinkedIn team, right? We don't control the approval team on their end, but we are partnered with them. So if you are using Restream and you've been trying to get approved for a long time, drop us a line. We can see, maybe we can do something in terms of checking in for you, and especially if you have a big established community and a lot of followers, and it just doesn't make sense why you're not getting that approval. Drop us a line. We'll see if we can help to support your application. Again, no guarantees, no control over. It's a different company, but we can do what we can as a partner.
That's good.
So,
Awesome.
All right. All right. So I think we're going to wrap this up. There are a couple more questions coming in, and we will definitely get back to all of those questions, with our support team, just to make sure we don't leave anyone behind. Yep. But this is going to be our show for today. Thank you very much for everyone who showed up. Rob, I don't know if you're familiar with our tradition, but on Q&As, we try to do the little high five thing.
Oh, here we go.
And you see it, it's different. So whenever you're ready. It's difficult. Okay.
There you go. There you go. I'm
ready?
so close.
1, 2, 3. Bang.
We got it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but we got it. Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Awesome. Thank you so much for showing up. Yeah, one day we'll master it, I promise. One day we will just be like, boom, done. And then, like passing cups to each other, that's going to be another trick that I'm saving for later. Thanks for tuning in. This is our show today. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and cheers.
Bye, guys.